Welcome, Trailblazer Art students. I'm so excited to start the 2023 and 2024 school year with you, and I've missed you. So today we are going to be talking about what you need for art class, and then we're going to do a fun art project together. So first of all, I sent a list, and Mr. Love sent it by email for you to see the recommended art supplies. Get what you can, but I was looking at Dollar Tree and Dollar General and Walmart. All those places have these art supplies that you can pick up, okay? So you're going to need some washable, colorful markers. Crayola makes the really good kind. And if you will get any size box of crayons, I've had these for years and they have lasted a long time, the 96 crayon box, but you can just get the regular size box also I think they come in 24 or even 8 crayons would be plenty. If you could also get some paper, and white construction paper is good. A pack of white construction paper. You could use any kind of white paper really, just don't get the kind with lines on it for art. And then colored construction paper. So white paper and colored construction paper. Again, Crayola makes a great brand that you can find almost at any store that you normally shop at. If you would get any kind of paint, but I have this watercolor set here. Sometimes they come with 8 colors, sometimes with more. I got this one at Hobby Lobby and it was about, I think, $7, and it has 2 trays with bright colors and subtle colors. But again, you could just get the smaller kind of the set of watercolors, and this is what it looks like, and that's fine too. You're gonna need some colored pencils for art class, and you can just get a normal pack of 12 colored pencils, that would be fine, and a little sharpener, a little handheld sharpener for those would be good. And then a paintbrush. I also picked up a pack of different size paintbrushes at Hobby Lobby. You can get paintbrushes at the dollar store and multiple other places as well. If you just get one paintbrush, that's good enough. But this is a really nice set for $7.99 of Royal and Langnickel paintbrushes with the big handle, and these last a long time, and it doesn't matter what color the brushes are, the handles and the bristles might be something different, but these are really good Royal and Langnickel paintbrushes if you're able to pick those up at Hobby Lobby maybe, and any other kind of paintbrush would work also. If you don't get watercolors, you could also get tempera paints. Having both would be great, but one or the other. Tempera cakes, they're called. They come in a little pack, kind of like watercolors, but they're usually big, and you can use the same kind of paintbrush with those. And then glue and scissors are always good. You probably already have those around your house, but just white school glue. A glue stick would work for many of the things that we're going to do this year. Some paper towels to have on hand. We usually use, at least 1 or 2 paper towels in class. They're good to have on hand. A good surface to work at, like I'm sitting at my desk. If you have a desk, that would be great. A lap desk, if you're gonna sit on the floor, would be fine, or sit at your kitchen table or your bar or whatever flat surface that you have, but you need something to bear down on. Pencils, of course, a variety of pencils, but just regular Ticonderoga pencils are my favorite. If you get some of the Crayola Model Magic or any kind of modeling clay, I have a few different colors here in white. So at some point, if everybody is able to, we'll do something like sculpture, or figure out what we're gonna make with clay. And so I just picked up a few different colors: yellow, red, blue, white. But if you can only find one color, that will be fine as well. And these are just $1 at the dollar store if you want to pick these up. Okay, so today's project is going to be all about lines, and I hope that you enjoy the song, Lots of Lines, and we're going to be making a line tree painting today, so like a little forest of trees. And so here is my example of what we are going to make, and we're going to be talking about not only lines, which is the most basic element of art and the most important element of art, because everything in art almost always has lines in it, and a line is just a moving dot. Okay, so if you put down your pencil, your paintbrush, your crayon, your marker, whatever you're making, you start by just putting it on the surface of the paper like a dot, but then it keeps moving, so it's moving across the space. And we're going to be working with painting as well. So when we get to the painting portion of this, I will tell you what your choices are, but basically you can do painting with markers, washable markers, or with watercolors, and that's up to you. I used markers, but we'll talk about that in just a moment. So we're going to start with a sheet of white paper, and I'm going to move my paper towels for now so that I have a flat, hard surface to work on. And we're going to start with a black crayon. So we are going to talk about how to place your tree trunks first. So our paper is divided up into 3 planes or 3 sections. The bottom section is known as the foreground. The middle section in the middle is known as the midground or middle ground, and the top section is the background. And so in art, the things that are in the bottom portion or foreground appear to be larger. The things in the middle ground get a little smaller, and the things at the top of the paper are in the background and they're much smaller. So let's start drawing some tree trunks, and they're going to be larger in the foreground. So maybe about, if you put your hand down, make them as tall as from the bottom of the paper. You can skip a little space. I skipped about 1 inch. 1, 2, 3 tree trunks. And since they're close up, let's go ahead and thicken them just a little because they are tree trunks. And so our lines can be straight or slightly curved, because you know how trees grow. Some of them are a little bit different size, shape, and the way they lean or curve a little bit can be different. But I'm just making my tree trunks just with line and a little bit of thickness. In the middle ground, let's go ahead and use some of the space here. So we're going up to the middle section, and let's put 2 lines in the middle that are just a little bit shorter. Just a little bit shorter than the ones in the foreground, and give them a little bit of thickness. And then here, let's put some shorter lines. And then in the far background, let's just put some even shorter lines. So we're making a little forest, of course. And what kind of trees do you like? Oh, I like so many different kinds of trees. I like willow trees, the kind that hang down sort of like a long flowing umbrella. And I like pine trees, evergreen trees, birch trees. I like apple trees, just all kinds of trees. We're going to use some different lines on our trees. So for the first one, let's just start with an evergreen. And all you have to do is make some marks coming off the tree trunk and getting just slightly bigger as they come down, just like that. Okay, so take your time to give it some boughs. The parts of the evergreen tree that come off like this are called its boughs. I think there's a Christmas song that talks about that. And then on this tree, you can do whatever kind of line you want, but I'm going to start at the top with a Z, and then I'm going to bring it on through and make a big zigzag. Okay, so that's going to be my next tree. So its boughs are kind of a zigzag shape, just for fun. On the next tree, how about we do some spiral shapes? Spirals are like almost a circular shape that curls around itself. and we can go different directions. And then for this one, how about we do the weeping willow? It's kind of like a rainbow shape. Like that. And then for this one, I'm going to do just the opposite. Maybe do some U shapes. And then this tree, I'm going to do just some kind of random branch shapes, and then I'm going to do little tiny other line shapes, branches coming off of those branches. And then for this one that's in the high middle ground, I am just going to do some wavy lines or some curly lines that go around sort of almost in a circle, but they're kind of like an old style telephone cord that curls up. How about on this tiny tree up here, I'll do some dotted lines. Just like that. That's nice and easy. And on the next one, I'm going to connect my spirals. I'm just going to do a continuous spiral shape all around. And then just have some branches that connect those little curlicues. Easy peasy. This one I'm going to do just some interesting short and long branches. Just like that. Kind of a Dr. Seuss looking style tree. Okay, the next thing is you can put down your black crayon and we're just going to add colors. This is so much fun because all these colors have interesting names. And I'm just going to come in here and I'm going to color what I have made, but this is going to be my foliage. And you can color over top of the black. You'll notice that the black kind of smears into the other color, but that's okay. Just enjoy coloring it. And I am holding my crayon kind of on the side because when you press down, it sometimes breaks the crayon in the middle. I've learned that, and I don't really want my crayons to break that easily. You could still use them if they're broken. But like I said, I've had these crayons for a long time and I want to keep them in good shape. So I think I'm going to use this green, forest green, on my evergreen tree. And you can use any color you want. You don't have to choose green. I think I used a melon color on that other one. And you might have some other different colors that you would like to use. Just be sure you're using your crayons in a way that makes you happy. Colors that you like. And I am trying to fill in most of the white space around the tree branches because when we paint our background in, we still want our tree colors to show. Okay, that's pretty good. And then I'm going to use, how about purple on this one? And I'm just going to kind of color it sort of like in an egg shape because that's what it reminds me of. A nice purple tree. Where have you seen a purple tree? Well, I have a purple crepe myrtle tree. So it does happen. And I have a pink dogwood and a pink crepe myrtle tree. So, you know, trees can come in all shapes and colors too, just like people. How about we use sort of an orange color? This is called Razzle Dazzle Rose. That sounds interesting. Yeah, it's more of a pink. Oh, I really like that pink too. So I made that one kind of like an upside down egg shape. And you can make it however you want it. But the fun thing is, They're all different shapes and colors. Okay, let's go with this color, orange. And you can even mix colors if you want. You could blend 2 or more colors. And it's still summertime right now, and you do see some different flowering trees that have all these different colors. But in the fall is when we see the most colors on the trees. So we're just gonna pretend like it's summer or fall, whatever you prefer. So I'm really just kind of using the scribbling kind of circular motion when I'm coloring my trees. And that gives me a lot of freedom with what I'm doing. Let's try blue on this one. There aren't many blue trees. There's a blue spruce tree that I've heard of before, and it's more of a, sort of a dark greenish blue. But again, these are just fanciful forest trees. You don't have to give them names unless you want to. I like that blue. Okay, just 2 more little trees. Let's try yellow on this one. Ooh, I like that bright yellow. And I haven't used what color? How about this gold color? Kind of a metallic one. Yeah, all right, I like that. And I just have one more big one that I almost overlooked. So that one, I think, will be this blue. It's called blue green. Yeah, that's a good color. And you know, I'm coloring freely, like I said, kind of in a circular motion, but I am staying in the area of my tree and the tree branches and the trunk. So I'm trying not to let it just go too far out from my tree. Nice. I like all the colors that I've chosen. And so the next step is going to be adding markers. So when you're ready, if you will choose the marker colors that you like. In this one, I used blue in the sky and I used green down below. This part in the middle maybe could be like a little pond if you wanted it to be. If not, you could just bring it all down. But remember, when we look at the earth, because our earth is round, it appears that the sky and the ground meet. Because the blue, there's no empty space in between when we look at it. So the way to start with your colors is you're just gonna not try to color it completely, but just put a little bit of marker in between your trees. If you choose to do a blue sky, you could do any color really. It could be a sunset color with like a peachy orange, but this is the markers. Make sure you're using the markers and that they are washable. The washable marker is important for this project because we're going to turn our markers into paint. Okay, that's good enough for that. It looks kind of squiggly. And then I'm going to use my green marker for my ground because it's not winter time yet, so I still have some grass to mow. And I'm just going to fill in around all of my trees without coloring through my trees. And like I said, it can just be squiggly lines, kind of thick squiggly. I'm using the fat part of my marker instead of the very tip of the marker. That's good enough. Now the last step before we're finished with this project is going to be water. So make sure that you choose a cup that you're not going to think is your drinking cup. I actually labeled mine Art, but if you just have a cup that's disposable or something, that'll work too. Be sure that your paintbrush is clean, and you can use any paintbrush that you have on hand as long as it's an art paintbrush and not something that's too big, because you're going to need to get into all these spaces. Oh, look at that. When you paint over your markers, what happens? Yes, it turns into watercolors. So this is a really neat project because the crayon is made of wax. The markers are washable, and wax resists water. So if I bring this paintbrush over my crayon wax, see, my color is still there. My tree color stayed the same because the wax will not allow the water to penetrate it. And the marker is turning into paint. And I'm not even really trying to be all that careful. Like, I'm just painting right across all of this. I'm being careful not to spill the water or get it on me or on something important like my computer, you know. You have to be careful that your Chromebooks are well out of the way of any water that you're using. And you don't want to mess up your mom's pretty tablecloth or anything like that, so be careful not to spill it or get the colors all over something. We're almost done. We're just going to put a finishing touch on our ground by coloring right through our markers, and really even through our trees. My trees are still visible. Isn't that cool? Remember, there are no mistakes. To quote Bob Ross, just happy little accidents. If you've never watched any Bob Ross shows, you should, because he was a great artist when he was living. And his voice is very calming, and he has a lot of great art that he did. And that's it. And then all that's left to do later after it dries is to sign your name. Now, you'll notice when you pick it up, it will start to drip a little, and that can be a fun effect. See how my green is crawling around and my blue has a drop there. So if you want it to drip, you can do that. Make sure again that you've got a paper towel nearby or under it. And that is all. I hope you enjoyed our project today. It's all about lines, and we made a beautiful forest of trees, and we colored and we painted all in one project. So until next time, have a great day. Bye.